Big changes are here, and if you've been planning to move to Australia in 2025, you need to pay close attention. The Australian government has just announced major updates to immigration rules, and these aren't minor adjustments. These changes could directly affect how quickly your visa gets processed, which occupations are now in demand, and what requirements you'll need to meet if you want to secure permanent residency. For many skilled workers, students, and families, this news might mean brand new opportunities, but for others, it could create new hurdles that make the journey more challenging. In this video, we'll break down everything you need to know about the latest immigration rules, what they mean for your future, and how you can stay ahead before it's too late. Don't miss this update. It could decide your next big move. Alright, so let's dive in. If you're planning to move to Australia in 2025, you've probably heard the big headline already: the rules have changed. And not just a little tweak here or there, these are real shifts that can totally change your chances of getting a visa, landing a job, or even securing permanent residency. Now, don't panic. Not all of this is bad news. For some people, these changes actually open up brand new doors. But for others, it might mean your plans need a rethink. So grab a cup of coffee, sit tight, and let's go through this step by step, because the details here matter. Why is Australia changing immigration rules again? So, first question, why now? Well, Australia has been juggling two major problems. On one side, there's a huge shortage of workers in key industries. Think nurses, teachers, aged care, engineers, construction workers, you name it. Employers have been screaming for help. On the other side, the immigration system has been clogged up with delays and backlogs. Too many people waiting, not enough decisions coming through quickly. So, the government basically said, all right, enough is enough, let's fix this. And boom, out come the new 2025 rules. Skilled migration gets a makeover. Now, if you're aiming for a skilled migration visa, like the 189, 190, or the 491, this is where things get interesting. Here's what's happening. Occupation lists have been shuffled around. Some jobs that were on the list last year are gone, and new ones have been added. The spotlight is now heavily on healthcare, aged care, teaching, engineering, and IT. If that's your field, you just got lucky. Points system adjustments. You know that system where you score points for your age, English level, work experience, and so on? Well, they've tweaked it. That means English and regional commitments are worth more in some cases, and that could boost your score. States are setting their own priorities. Every state and territory has updated its nomination rules. Some want only regional workers, some are chasing critical industries. Translation. Where you apply matters more than ever. The big question. What about permanent residency? Let's be real. Most people don't just want a visa. They want permanent residency. They want to settle, build a life, buy a house, send their kids to school, and not worry about visas expiring. So what's the news here? Actually, it's kind of good. The government is trying to make it easier for people in high-demand jobs to transition from temporary visas to permanent residency. Nurses, aged care workers, engineers, IT professionals. You're on the fast track now. But, and there's always a but, if your job isn't on the updated priority list, things just got trickier. Processing times could drag on, or you might have to look at regional options or employer sponsorship to get there. Employer-sponsored visas. Faster, but pickier. Let's talk about employer sponsorship. If you've got a company in Australia ready to sponsor you, that's still one of the best ways to get in. The government has streamlined this process so that employers in high-demand industries can bring workers in quicker. So if you've got a job offer as a nurse, an IT specialist, or an engineer, you're golden. Your application might move through the system faster than ever before. But, if your occupation is lower demand, employers are going to be more cautious. That means you may need to hustle harder to get that sponsorship. The push for regional migration. Now, here's something that hasn't changed, but is even more important now. Australia does not want everyone packing into Sydney, Melbourne, and Brisbane. They've been saying this for years, and in 2025, they're doubling down. The government wants people living and working in regional areas. And honestly, this could be your golden ticket. The subclass 491, Skilled Work Regional, visa is getting a lot of love from policymakers. If you're open to moving to a smaller city or even a regional town, your chances of getting nominated are way higher. Plus, the benefits are pretty good. You can transition to permanent residency after a few years if you meet the requirements. Students and temporary visa holders. What's new? Okay, what about students? Australia is still one of the most popular destinations for international students, and the new rules do touch on this group. The government is making it clearer which study pathways actually lead to permanent residency. If you're studying in a priority field, say, nursing, IT, or teaching, you're in a stronger position. And if you study in a regional area, that's a double bonus. But if you're studying something outside of these key industries, don't assume it'll be your ticket to stay long term. You might need to rethink your strategy. What this means for families. I know a lot of you aren't just thinking about yourself. You're thinking about your spouse, your kids, maybe even your parents. So how do the new rules affect families? Well, family reunion visas are still there, but the focus is clearly on skilled and employer-sponsored migration. That doesn't mean families are left out, but it does mean that if you're applying, you'll probably need to fit into the skilled migration categories first. The good news is once you've got your foot in the door, the system is designed to let your family join you and build a future together. Processing times. Will they finally improve? Let's be honest, one of the biggest frustrations has always been waiting. Some people have waited years for decisions, and it's been brutal. The government has promised that the new rules will help speed up the system, especially for priority occupations. They're putting resources into clearing backlogs and making the process smoother. Will it be perfect? Probably not. But if you're in one of those in-demand fields, you should see faster turnaround times compared to the past. Opportunities and risks. So, let's zoom out for a second. What's the big picture here? On the opportunity side, if you're in healthcare, aged care, engineering, teaching, IT, or you're willing to live in a regional area, 2025 could be your year. Employer sponsorship is stronger than ever, and the PR pathways are clearer. On the risk side, if your occupation is no longer a priority, your application could stall. You may need to move away from the big cities to improve your chances. And you'll have to stay flexible, because these rules can change again next year. What should you do right now? So what's the smart move if you're serious about migrating to Australia in 2025? Check the updated occupation lists. Don't assume your job is still in demand. Look it up and confirm. Calculate your points again. With the new adjustments, your score might be higher or lower than you think. Research states and territories. Each one has its own nomination rules now, so see which matches your profile best. Consider regional areas. Don't limit yourself to Sydney or Melbourne. Regional migration could be your fastest path. Stay flexible. Immigration is a moving target. The people who succeed are the ones who adapt quickly. Wrapping it all up. At the end of the day, Australia's new immigration rules for 2025 are all about filling critical skill gaps and keeping the system moving. For some of you, this is the best news you could hope for. For others, it's a sign that you need to regroup and find a new angle. But here's the thing, you're not out of the game. Not at all. You just need to play smart. Keep an eye on updates, look for opportunities in priority industries, and don't be afraid to consider regional areas. Because while the rules have changed, one thing hasn't. Australia is still one of the most attractive destinations for migrants worldwide. And if you know how to navigate the system, there's still a place for you here. That's the full breakdown of the changes and how they might affect you. If you found this helpful, make sure you stick around because I'll keep bringing you the latest updates as they happen.